live. It's good. All right. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining me for another episode of Shadowcast. I am Elias, aka Azrael the Black. I am going to be your host for this episode of the Shadowcast. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. First off, Shadowcast is live every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can't catch a live show, you can check out the live recording on YouTube on this channel. And throughout the week, I'll cut the recording into videos and individual stories. You can catch those, shorter stories, videos, just whenever you want. Those are the ones that you care about. Also, this episode is going to be pretty video game news heavy. I apologize about that. Book news isn't so much light as it is slow coming, and I personally haven't had a whole lot of time to process and digest and research a lot of it. In between working on my own book and having a day job and a bunch of other stuff. Video game news just comes a lot easier to me. Also, like movie and TV news seems to be dominated by just children bitching about the Batman and Turning Red and how it somehow is offensive or something. I don't know. It's pretty negative. I have enough negativity in this episode, to be honest. I don't need any more, especially not that kind of negativity. I'd rather talk about negativity that can be cured and that can be addressed. So movie and TV news have been fairly light for me. So it's mostly going to be video game news. Yeah. Also, this episode might end up being a little bit shorter than I want it to be. I want it to run for the full hour. But as I said, I've been trying to work on my own short story and a couple other things that I've been sort of neglecting, and I haven't met the milestones that I want to meet. So yeah. This might end up being maybe like 15 minutes short or maybe a little less. But if anyone is here at the end of the episode, I would not mind spending a few minutes in a sort of discussion section of the show, just sort of talking about what the stories that I have to share, or anything else that somebody thinks probably should have been in the show or that I should have been able to address. And then that way I can talk about it with you for a few minutes at the end of the show, and then hopefully be able to fit it into the programming for next week. And I'll have some content, and it'll be content that you care about. But yes, with all of that out of the way, let's get into our first story. Well, first off, let's talk about my week in movies, video games, and books. So, what have I been reading? Well, I got done reading, what was it? Alloy of Law, which is the Mistborn Wax and Wane book one, which is really interesting. The Wax and Wane series takes place. I don't want to spoil anything. The Wax and Wane story takes place 300 years after the events of the original Mistborn trilogy. And there's sort of a technological boom in like an industrial age type setting. I don't think that spoils anything, but I definitely recommend it if you have already read the Mistborn trilogy. If you haven't read the Mistborn trilogy, I would say start with that. I actually think that the Mistborn trilogy is a better inroad into the Sanderson, the Cosmere universe than some of the other recommended reading. I think he recommends you read Elantris first, and then maybe Stormlight Archives. Um, the first Sanderson book I read was Elantris, and it was a very good book, and I think a very good primer for the rest of his Cosmere. But I don't think that I would have read very far into it if I wasn't as committed to reading it as I was, because it is a thick boy. It's probably about as thick as Rhythm of War, which is huge. So, if you want to get into the Cosmere, I recommend Mistborn, the trilogy, the original trilogy. The audiobooks I think were like 24 hours long. They're not too long. They're not like 55 hours, which was, I want to say, either Oathbringer or Rhythm of War was like 55 hours. 24 hours is pretty good. And it's very interesting. It's a fascinating setting. So definitely check that out, and then start reading the Wax and Wane series so that I can have people to talk to about it. I also started reading Dawn Shard. I'm about halfway through Dawn Shard. So far, I like it because Dawn Shard focuses on a lot on a couple of characters that don't get their own sort of arcs within the main Stormlight Archive continuity. So definitely a one that I think people should pick up if they have not already. Dawn Shard did just come out a couple weeks ago, maybe almost a month ago, something like that. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Doesn't matter. Definitely go check it out. Didn't get a chance to watch much this week. Did I not? I did not. Boom. There we go. Didn't get a chance to watch much this week, but as far as video games go, I have completed Horizon Forbidden West, the main storyline. Absolutely loved it. An excellent way to sort of continue and really amp up the story of the original Horizon Zero Dawn, in a very, I thought, very organic and very congruous way that it builds on the best parts of the original game, but also is capable of throwing different elements and themes at you that you probably weren't expecting having played the first game, which I liked, which is really cool. I can't wait to see the DLCs for this game because they're going to be just wild. I know it. Now, I started playing a little bit more Elden Ring. I'm enjoying Elden Ring a lot, mostly for the brainlessness of it. It so much does not require me to think, but for like moment to moment, you know what I mean? Like just the combat scenarios and then where to go next, and then more combat scenarios. It's the best part of a dumb game. You really don't have to think to play that game, and I love that because I don't think I would be playing it very much if I had to strain myself intellectually to play it. So I mean that in the best way possible. It's a game that was made specifically for you to relax and to be able to just sort of hit that flow state and really just kind of glide through the game and die a lot and just come back and keep doing it over and over again. So yeah, that's Elden Ring. You guys let me know what you've been reading, what you've been watching this week, and what you've been playing. Give me some ideas of what I should be watching or playing or reading, if you feel so inclined, if you'd like me to talk about any of that. I just picked up, I got my credit for Audible. So I just picked up the second book in the Kate Daniels series. I think it's Magic Burns or Magic Blows or something, I can't remember. But I'm going to start reading that too. I will talk about that next week. I should be able to have finished it by the end of next week. So that's pretty exciting for one of my close friends who has been bugging me to read it for probably months. So, all right. We are going to get into our first story here, and surprise, surprise, is a Brandon Sanderson story. So, buckle up. Let me just switch this here. There we go. All right. So last episode, I reported on Brandon Sanderson's frankly blatant assassination attempt of me and my bank account. If you haven't heard already, Brandon Sanderson, author of the Mistborn series, the Stormlight Archive, and many other fantasy and sci-fi novels, has launched the most successful Kickstarter in the history of Kickstarter, and to market 4 of the 5 secret novels he wrote in the last 2 years. Since then, Brandon Sanderson has given previews of the first 3 of his secret novels, reading the first chapters of each and posting the videos to his YouTube channel. If you haven't already seen those, he reads like the first 4 or 5 chapters of his his projects, his novels, and then sort of talks about how he came to get those ideas, how he came to have concepted them, and sort of what they mean to him and what their relevance and importance is, and they're really good. They're sort of spoilery. If you don't want any of it spoiled for you, I would probably listen to the first few chapters, like the first and second chapter, just to sort of, if you just sort of want to whet your appetite for the Sanderson secret novels. But if you don't mind that, I don't really mind that so much as far as this is concerned. I'm not going to get into spoilers here, but I didn't write that. Yeah, I'm not going to get into spoilers on this show, but if you don't want to be spoiled, I would probably... I believe that the chapters are bookmarked within the description. You can skip them and go right to the sort of discussion portion that he has at the end of his videos. I find them enlightening. I like to have that context, like the author side perspective on a story when I'm reading a story sometimes, or even when I'm playing a game or watching a movie or something. I like having the perspective of the creator of that piece of a media when I'm enjoying it. But it is kind of spoilery. The first of the secret novels is called Tress of the Emerald Sea. That's set in the Cosmere, and it follows a young girl, and it very much has a sort of mystery drama type feel to it, which I like. I think that's sort of a nice departure from the swords and knights and horrible apocalyptic battles and stuff like that you find in the Cosmere, or in Stormlight Archive. Tress of the Emerald Sea is a much more personal feeling project, so I'm looking forward to that. Then the second of his secret novels is called A Frugal Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval England, and that is not, as far as I'm aware, that's not set in the Cosmere. I think this is just something else that he's doing. I don't remember exactly what he said about it, but I believe that he had wanted to write something like this for a while that wasn't necessarily set in the Cosmere, but was sort of inspired by what is it, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Um, y- Listening to him read it, you can very much hear the inspiration there, which I think is good. I don't think it's such a problem to wear your inspirations on your sleeve as far as creating media, because it's still something original. You can be inspired by something and create something original. I think that he's very much done that with Frugal Wizard. I'm looking forward to that. It's probably not my favorite of what he's revealed right now, but it's something I'm looking forward to. Well, the third one I didn't write it down. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Yuri the Night Painter. Yuri and the Night Painter. That's the third of his secret projects, and that is definitely my favorite of his projects. That's also set in the Cosmere, and I'm not going to say much about it at all because I want you to go and see it for yourself if you don't mind being spoiled for some other projects in the Cosmere. But they're minor spoilers, I think, but they're details in other stories of the Cosmere that I really enjoy just discovering. So I'm not going to say anything about this one, but I love the setting. The setting for Yuri and the Night Painter is my favorite of the three so far, and just like the color palette on the artwork is definitely my favorite. It's the purplish one. It's gonna come up on the slideshow in a minute. It'll come up there in a minute. But yeah, those are the three. At some point in the last few weeks, he talked about the stretch goals for his Kickstarter. In that they're not going to do stretch goals because they've already hit the milestones of being the most funded Kickstarter project in history by like half. I think they doubled the next contender. So they're not going to do stretch goals to try and meet another goal. Instead, they're going to add new features onto what they've already done. Like for your pledge, instead of, I don't remember what I pledged for, but instead of getting just the books, I think physical books and the audio, you're also going to get like some artwork, or the physical books are going to be a much better quality hardcover than they were going to do, or than I guess most people do. So they're sort of rewarding backers by expanding what they've already offered, which I think is a really cool way to do business, and I'm really excited to see how far this goes, and what this can inspire in other publishing houses, and seeing if they can use that platform for something equally consumer friendly. That's really what I'm looking for here, and that's something I'm really excited to see from from Dragonsteel Books and the Brandon Sanderson brand is rampant consumer friendliness. So, yes, excellent. That is that story. We are going to go to the next one. Let's see here. Click that. Click it. There we go. Platinum Games' Babylon's Fall seems to have flopped after launch. If you didn't know, Babylon's Fall has released. If you didn't know Babylon's Fall has released, you're not alone. Babylon's Fall released in a terrible window, causing it to compete for attention with Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring, and had little in the way of marketing leading up to its March 3rd release date. In addition, the game has a lot of technical and commercial issues that put a lot of players off, resulting in a low average concurrent player rate and a mixed rating on Steam. Okay, so I have really strong emotions about this and really strong feelings about this. We just got done talking about consumer-friendly business practices. And I think this story really illustrates why it's important to me. But let's go on to sort of what the problems are first, and then I'll talk about it. So graphically poor. The graphics have been compared to PlayStation 2 and MMO graphics, like World of Warcraft graphics, which should not be acceptable and definitely should not have launched with those. The live service issues, like terrible live service issues. The worst thing that's come out in the last 10 years of video games is the social hub, because it's not social. And apparently this is the one of the least social hubs in gaming right now. They got that cash shop that right now is just cosmetic, and I don't expect that to last, and I don't think anybody else does. Battle Pass, just terrible. Like, why does that exist? Why do battle passes exist? I hate those. Apparently, I haven't done a lot of research on this myself, but I've seen comparisons, and they seem pretty genuine. The assets from Final Fantasy XIV have been flipped and repurposed into Babylon's Fall, which probably wouldn't bother me so much. Like an asset flip wouldn't necessarily be an issue if the graphics didn't play like a 2-decade-old game system, and if like all the other components of the game, the combat and the art, whatever RPG elements, were much more robust and a lot more competent. But yeah, flipping assets for a game that appears to be unfinished already, doesn't seem like. There we go. It doesn't seem like they were trying their hardest to make a worthwhile product, and that's a huge issue for me, because they charged a premium price for it. Okay, let's see. Why am I talking about this? Why is the failing of a game discussion worthy for me? It's because Platinum followed a gross trend that has been happening in the industry for the last 7 or so years. Publishers are putting out half-finished or totally incongruous games, charging full price for them and promising that they'll fix the issues their players have with it later on. And that is blatantly anti-consumer at its core. And that is really what it comes down to, because the gaming industry is such a massive moneymaker. It's a huge industry, and it's so rapidly evolving, and you were always expected to be proficient at it in order to stand out. It's a wildly crowded field, and it sucks, but like you have to be some sort of proficient at it. And if you're a company like Platinum Games at the height of their prime, they have Final Fantasy, they have a bunch of other games that are huge. Final Fantasy 14. They have a bunch of other games that are huge, and I think it was Nier, and something else. Did they make Bayonetta? I think they made Bayonetta. Like, those are two massively popular games. You don't get to be at the top of your field and get away with sort of half-assing the production of a video game and then asking for full price for it. It's sort of like it's like asking for a hot dog with like mustard and relish and like, onion on it, and then they give you an empty sandwich bun with some cheese in it and say, here you go, the rest is coming later. That's not what you ordered. This game, whatever it was supposed to be, it didn't end up being that. And then the issues with it, the features that are missing, they say they're gonna update it and they're gonna put it in later. And that's something that's been happening over the last 10 years. The whole reason I never picked up Destiny 2 was because Destiny 1 was such a shit show for all of that. The social hub was just a menu that you had to walk through instead of just click through. It wasn't a social hub. It wasn't fun at all. The gameplay was just very bare bones and just wasn't like exciting or engaging. A lot of the content was repurposed within the game that you had to play back through, just backwards in order to progress the story. And the story, I can't talk about the story. I can't talk about the story. And then a lot of the content that was promised to be in the game was cut out of the game and sold for $20 to $40 after the fact. That's what I see happening here, except it's like a much bigger problem with this. I feel like Platinum Games, I feel like they really ended up doing the bare minimum and charged the premium price for it. It's a $70 game and expected everyone to, at least expected their player base to buy it and trust them that they were going to sort of take care of this game and like update it later on, and you can buy those updates and it will be a better game for it. And it's not even that kind of game. It's not the kind of game that should need to be updated constantly throughout its lifetime. It's not an MMO. It's not that social a game. It's like a 4-player co-op game. I don't really know how to describe it. Just like dungeon crawling. It's not that kind of game. It shouldn't need a battle pass. It should not need a cash shop. It's just a lot of things that you can tell is formula for maximizing profit. For skinning your player base of as much money as you can for as little effort as you gave. And that is anti-consumer, and I don't like it. So I'm not going to be touching Babylon's Fall. I'm not even going to be talking about it anymore. I'm pretty sure I'm the last person talking about it now, because I don't vibe with this. This is clearly anti-consumer behavior, and I don't vibe with it. I don't like it. And I don't want to be negative on this channel, on this show. I don't want to just make a habit of telling people not to buy things. I really want to try to inform people about their purchasing habits. But in this case, I don't think you should touch Platinum Games' Babylon's Fall. It deserves to fail as much as it has, and I now just want it to go away and show as many other publishers out there that this isn't something that's going to fly with us. We want complete games at launch. That's what we want now. Yeah, that is it for that. Let's see. The next story. It's more video games, and I apologize for that again. But like I said, the video game industry is it's just a really fast moving industry. A lot of news comes out very, very quickly, and it's all it's all relevant news. And sometimes with movies and TV and books, it's not all relevant news. And I don't want to become one of those publications that just kind of has to make shit up to talk about. See here. Yes, Brittany, Rhythm of War is 57.5 hours long. Jesus, I read that. Yeah, Brittany is who got me into Kate Daniels, and yes, she has been upset that I haven't read the second book yet. So, yeah, she is reading through Rhythm of War. I'm reading through Kate Daniels. So yeah, I can't wait to see her opinions on Rhythm of War. It's probably one of my favorite books. So I hope you enjoy it. And Julie says, Yo, Julie, what's up? All right, let's get to the next story. Yes. All right. This week, no, not this week, over the last few weeks, Sony had their State of Play showcase event for upcoming titles for PlayStation. There were a lot of standouts that caught my attention, and now I'm going to talk about them. So, Exoprimal. Exoprimal is an online co-op game, another sort of four-player co-op game where teams of players don futuristic robot suits and face off against hordes of angry dinosaurs. So, this is really interesting to me for a couple of reasons. Number one, the co-op aspect. This feels like a much more co-op centric game than something like Babylon's Fall does. Where Babylon's Fall's architecture sort of forces you to work with a team. The images that I've seen from Exoprimal sort of make you want to play with other people. Like, you can choose one of the mech suits and get one of the roles, one of the powers. Like, you can choose the big one and get like an energy shield that blocks the dinosaurs. And then your friend, who's a DPS, comes around and cleans up the kills. That's the kind of game that I want to play. Where everyone has like a role to play, and then sometimes, most of the time, you're all fucking up and just messing up and running around and just having a good time trying to survive an onslaught of dinosaurs. And then sometimes those brief moments, everything clicks and sort of falls into place, and you're all playing your roles just perfectly and beautifully, and those are like the standout moments of your gameplay. I can see that happening in this game. I'm gonna keep an eye on Exoprimal, but a lot of people said it's what is it? It's like if Anthem and Earth Defense Force had a baby. I would agree with that. It does seem like that. But also, if you haven't seen if you haven't seen my gameplay or Saku Foxheart's gameplay of Second Extinction, it's definitely, first off, check those out. Go check those out. But it feels a lot like that too, mostly because of the dinosaur aspect. That's also a feature that I'm excited about. If you guys know me at all, you know that I am excited about dinosaurs. I love my dinosaurs. Everything concerning dinosaurs, especially killing dinosaurs. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be watching Exoprimal. That's going to be a good time. I'm definitely going to have to grab Saku Foxheart and mow down some fucking dinosaurs. Who's it? Who would you equate the Who would you equate the first game you talked about to Skyrim? What? Would you equate the first? Would I? What was the first game I talked about? Oh, um, if you're talking about Elden Ring, would I equate Elden Ring to Skyrim? I think I would. In its like open world sort of sandbox nature. Um, it's the difficulty ceiling is a lot less forgiving than it is in a Skyrim. Um, it's kind of it's kind of annoying when you get mobbed by like the the decrepit little old men with knives, and somehow they kill you just because you weren't paying attention, or like you're just in a situation you couldn't escape. Um, but I like to think that that rage fuels my gameplay, so uh, maybe not the healthiest thing, but I still really much enjoy it. If you were talking about Babylon's Fall, no, I would not equate that with Skyrim. Because Skyrim, as much as I don't like Bethesda and I don't like Todd Howard, Skyrim was a masterpiece, and Babylon's Fall is a dumpster fire. But Alexis says, "Yo, yo! Everybody's yoing me today. I love it." What was I was talking about Exoprimal? Okay, so Forspoken is a game that I think a lot of people have been really excited about. It's a open world game that features a person of color as the main character, and it's got a really cool like combat style and art style for a lot of the magical powers and abilities. Um, and the last gameplay we saw, I enjoyed it, but it was not polished. It looked rough, and this gameplay we got a lot more gameplay, and it looks much cleaner and much more uh sort of reflective of what you can tell they're trying to get on screen there. It looks a lot better, and it makes me I've already been excited for it, but it makes me feel even better about it. I am going to pick it up, and I'm excited about it. But they didn't really talk about the story too much, which I think that's a good thing. I don't remember when it's supposed to come out. I believe it's supposed to come out this year, but I'm glad that they focused on reassuring people about the gameplay and the graphics and all that stuff. That's really cool. So here. It's not the game for Brittany to get into. It's probably not unless not unless we like we kind of want to play it, in a very casual way. It's probably a fun drinking game. Like every time you die, you pass it off and you take a shot or something like that. It's not a game to try to get into and like master it like Skyrim is. If you're not willing to just die a lot, and pay for that mastery with just a lot of blood and frustration. Charlie says, "A dragon just stomped me to death in in Elden Ring. Such fun." Yeah, yeah. I've been stomped to death, eaten, poisoned. I burned to death by some asshole in like a rag, like dressed in a fucking carpet. He like threw poison powder at me and ignited it and I exploded. Did I say eaten? I've been mobbed by lots of wildlife, so much wildlife. Um, Thrown off cliffs, impaled. Just there's a lot of ways to die in Elden Ring and in Souls games in particular. Um, and the game purposely doesn't sort of explain a lot to you. You kind of have to learn through experimentation, and that causes death a lot. So it could be a fun game to just sort of unwind with, because you're not the way that I approach Souls games is I'm not trying to master them. I'm really just trying to turn my brain off for a minute. And if it's something that you think that would help you do that, help you turn your brain off, it's very much a meditative experience for me. If it's something that would help Brittany or anyone turn their brain off and just sort of try to hit a flow state, then it could be the game. But personally, knowing Brittany, I don't think so. I still want her to try it, but no. Nah, I don't think that's a game to like get into the way that you get into Skyrim. Let's see here. Alec, what's up, man? How you doing? Hoping to find a PS5. Yeah, it's rough out there, man. Like I mean, I had to get mine second hand from a pawn shop, just because none of the outlets actually have any of them. Yeah, I would look around at the pawn shops, see if I had to have a contact at the pawn shop, so I was able to get someone to set it aside for me. It's rough out here, and there's no indication that it's going to get better, because the companies are still selling them. We're just not getting them. But yeah, that's a whole other episode, man. That's a whole other topic for content. But thanks for stopping by, man. Oh, okay. So this was a game that was shown at a State of Play. Was Gundam Evolution. That's another one that I'm looking at pretty closely, mostly because it's free to play. I don't think I would probably give it the time of day if it weren't free to play. But it's like a competitive team-based shooter with TDM variant game modes, sort of like Overwatch, but with Gundams. I used to love Gundam back in the day. I can see myself playing this and sort of investing some time in this. It's free to play. It's probably something they could have gotten away with asking money for. And there's probably some way to like some monetization tactic they're going to use, like cosmetics. It would be pretty easy to do that in a free to play game like Gundam Evolution. I think that that could be pretty acceptable too. But yeah, Gundam Evolution, it looks like a fun game. It looks like something that I could get into, if only I had friends. Also, there's Returnal Ascension. Ascension is the free update to the I believe Returnal was a launch title for the PS5. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's the sort of bullet hell, very stylized, very pretty art style for the game. It's a lot of fun and very frenetic, and it's another one that for me it's a lot like Elden Ring. It's a flow state game. You kind of have to turn your brain off to play it. But now they're adding a feature for free that I believe probably should have been at launch. Was the co-op mode. It seems like such a very basic addition to this style of game. It's something that I think probably should have been in there to begin with. But I'm glad it's coming now and it's free. And there's also a new game mode coming, which is a sort of infinite wave mode. I think it's called the Tower of Sisyphus. Um, so that's really cool. I'm glad that they're updating that game. They're giving it real robust updates and content. And not just abandoning the game to live out its life and then die. Um, yeah. And I didn't write it down, but there's also, I'll probably be able to talk about this later, but Hogwarts Legacy. There was what was it, like 12 or 15 minute gameplay reveal. That put to rest a lot of concerns I had with Hogwarts, and then sort of brought to light a couple new concerns. But mostly the gameplay shows off combat and how combat is handled, and I'm pretty happy with that. And then they show a couple of other features that I was really hoping they would, like a couple of the puzzle mechanics and some of the like ancillary mechanics, like the collectibles and sort of character customization. A lot of customization elements. The room of requirement. There's sort of a portal feature where you can go to like an open field and build a house, which is really cool. I'll have to talk about it sometime, but definitely go check out Hogwarts Legacy gameplay on YouTube. They're doing a lot of things that I think the Harry Potter franchise, as far as the video game goes, benefits from, and they don't have to do with combat. It's magic. It's not just about fighting, although that's a lot of fun. But it's also supposed to be about building something, being able to do things that are impossible to do. And I like that. I like that they're expanding that aspect of it for this game. Let's see. Alexis, you were so hyped. Yes, I was ecstatic once I got my PS5, and I'm loving it. I need a TV that can actually handle, or a TV that can handle the graphic output, which is, I guess, going to be my next purchase, because I definitely need it. Julie, Skyrim pissed her off, so I can't imagine Elden Ring. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Elden Ring would work so much. I think it shares a lot of the features that Skyrim had, but I think the attitude is a lot more I don't want to say hardcore, but it's not the same as Skyrim. Skyrim's a little more forgiving and a little more player friendly, and I don't think anybody has accused a Souls game of being player friendly. So Elden Ring's probably not for Brittany. Alex says, I love the PS2 Prisoner of Azkaban as a kid. Yes, Prisoner of Azkaban was a lot of fun. Because it was very much an adventure game, right? Like it was like you used a lot more magic for a lot more I'm gonna say practical things, but like you used it to progress through the story and not just to beat people. You know what I mean? You used it to actually to do things around the play space. You had to sort of change the way that you think so that you could use the magic that you had to use in order to and the Hogwarts Legacy seems to be following that and expanding on that, because even in combat you can approach combat in different ways. Like you can you can drink a potion that makes you more powerful, or unleash the animals. Like if you rescue some animals, you can grow them up and then unleash them on your enemies and have them sort of draw aggro while you wail on them. That's a really cool way to approach one aspect of the game in different ways. And if they apply that to the rest of the game, like you know, getting around, they showed you riding on a broom, and that's real cool. But then they showed a clip of you raising a family of Thestrals, and I am still a Harry Potter nerd. If you guys don't know what Thestrals are, they are the invisible carriage pullers. They're basically death horses that can fly, and you can't see them unless you have seen somebody die. So the fact that our character can see them is a little bit sus. I guess it's not sus if we just saw him like take out 20 adults. But we saw him riding on a broom, and then we saw the Thestrals, and I'm gonna be super pissed if we don't get to ride on a Thestral. I think that would be my preferred mode of transportation, is just riding on a Thestral, scaring the shit out of people. But yeah, I like the directions that this game is going in, and I can't wait to just see how it goes, and hopefully I'm not disappointed, but I don't think I will be, which surprises me. It's a WB game, and they are sometimes very disappointing. But let's move on. I've got a little bit more time. Thought that this episode was going to run short. It did not. All right. Let me just hit this. Perfect. All right. It's no secret Elden Ring has had some technical issues, especially with its PC port. Despite these issues, most players express both satisfaction and enjoyment with the title. It's strange, then, to find Elden Ring came under attack by other developers. Several developers took to Twitter, of all goddamn places, and flamed Elden Ring, saying, quote, "The fact that Elden Ring scored a 97 Metacritic is proof that reviewers don't care about game UX," end quote. That's just fucking stupid. Anyway, moving on. Since posting, fans of Elden Ring and the games industry in general have come out to rebuke this sort of professional behavior, and some of the devs have made their accounts private. Okay, so first off, I believe the developer that posted that tweet and started the whole fucking shit show, I believe he works for Ubisoft, which is fucking hilarious. That he talks about user experience. And then one of them was a Guerrilla dev. And Guerrilla is the developer of Horizon Forbidden West. That's just disappointing to see someone any of them who succeed in their field, but then see someone else succeeding and attack them. Just really, really odd. Because it's not like Elden Ring took all their players away. It's just baffling. It's baffling that you would it's baffling you would think that, and it's baffling that you would go to Twitter to express it. Twitter's not kind to you. Twitter's not kind to anybody. Why is that a place that you would think to go to express any sort of opinion? Honestly, don't do Twitter. Do your own Facebook groups where all your friends are. Obviously it's a moment of frustration from um, individual developers that don't speak for the development company as a whole were probably under a lot of pressure and were probably exposed to some sort of like inter-office rhetoric about Elden Ring and about Bandai Namco, and just their design philosophy for the game that very much doesn't line up with the typical adventure game formula and standard. It doesn't meet the standards at all, because standards for art are kind of bullshit. There's there's standards of quality, but standards of features isn't really something that can be criticized in that way. You know what I mean? Really, the issue here is the wording. What is it? It's proof that reviewers don't care about game UX. And then I think someone else said something like quest design, and then like someone else said something about open world elements. This, at a certain point, it stops feeling as though these developers are attacking another developer, and it starts feeling like they're attacking the people that enjoy the game they developed, which is the players. And that's very much a punching down situation, which is something you don't do. Because these are producers of a product that we, the consumer, want. And whatever the reason, whatever issues they were having that, brought them to this level of frustration, be it, Elden Ring got this many concurrent players and Horizon got this many, or Ubisoft and their genuinely horrible open world design got this many players. Whatever the reason is, it feels like they sort of subconsciously recognize that they can't actually attack someone who's being successful at what they're trying to do. And so they switch targets and they punch down at the people that they want to buy their stuff. And that's, what happened to them was just a bunch of, just all the people that felt like they were being attacked, all the players that really enjoy the game, and all the people that felt like people should be defended for their art, came for these devs, and the devs had to go private. And that's what happens. That's just what happens when you punch down. There's a lot more people below you than on your level or above you. And they're in a much better position to attack you than you are to attack them. So yeah, it might not have been intended this way, but the devs seem to have come for the players, and the players responded. They returned fire. And that's just what happens, man. Don't punch down. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. That's it. Hopefully, I don't think this will affect anybody else, but I don't think it'll affect Ubisoft and their game releases or any sort of perception of Horizon Forbidden West, because that is a genuinely enjoyable game and an incredible story, an incredible continuance of an incredible story. These are just a couple of individuals who very momentarily lost control of how frustrated they were, it seems. And it's just sad to see. But yeah, that is it. That is going to be the show, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Shadowcast. Please remember, you can catch the Shadowcast every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you can't catch Shadowcast live, you can catch the live recording on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Azrael the Black. Just after it airs. You can watch the whole thing, or you can wait later on in the week. I'll cut the episode into videos, and you can see just individual stories, and just digest it easier that way if you would like. Do be sure to check out my socials. They're up there. There they are, right there. I'm hoping to be a lot more active on my social media platforms. That would be easier, I think, if more people were there. So do check those out. And yeah, that's it. That's going to be the show. Thank you guys for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to try and be a little more consistent on with this show. Please do let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about in particular regarding movies, TV, books, or video games. Any of that, I'm open to all topics of discussion. Yeah, that's it. Also, I'm not. This isn't final right now, but I'm trying to think of another streaming day for just like random discussion, where I'll be like playing a video game and we'll just be talking back and forth, or I was thinking about doing something where I'd be working on my books or on my stories, and we could talk back and forth about that or about something else, just whatever. I was thinking Wednesday, but is that something you guys would show up for? If it is, do let me know. I would like to see if I can get more content out throughout the week. You know what I mean? More weekly content. Damien, thank you for showing up, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate you just showing up to watch. Hopefully I get better at this. But yeah, it's great to see you. Thank you all for showing up, for making this a thing that I can bring to you guys and make it valuable. But yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you next week. If I decide to do something in the middle of the week, I'll share it to all my socials and make sure everybody knows about it. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So I will see you guys next week. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Peace.